Good afternoon to everyone joining us today. Hopefully everyone can hear my voice okay. It's a bit soft as just recovered from COVID at the moment. Also, just want to say apologies for not being able to present alongside my classmates and also my teammates on this presentation for the scheduled time. But I hope you guys can all walk away with some valuable insights. So let's get started. So when we think about waste, many of us envision overflowing bins, the rumbling trucks and the expansive landfills. But what if we change that perspective is what I kind of try not to get at. What if waste wasn't not a burden but rather a resource? So today I'll demonstrate how cities can transfer waste into energy, materials and opportunities by laying the groundwork for a circular economy future. In their last retirement, which was done by Rebecca, her and her partner highlighted a number of wicked problems. These problems were overflowing of landfills, inefficient collection systems, methane from food waste, and unmanaged e-waste. They also touched on the inequality between waste management process between affluent countries and poorer countries, and that all contribute to the climate, health, and the social challenges. So while we rely on technology to solve all our problems, us as a human, we just think we can be able to fix it. I don't think it will be enough without strong policies, incentives, and community buy-in. So that shows like the smartest city systems in the world won't reach its potential unless we have that. Perfect. So teammates have probably already touched on this, but our design inspiration came from Shenzhen's Terraces, a project that blends nature, public life and infrastructure. It isn't a perfect blueprint, but it gave us a springboard to think about how architecture and waste systems can work hand in hand with each other and within how the precinct is built. And that's very important. By having these planning process at the start, then we can kind of see how we're going to actually contribute to waste management. So with with Gemini AI, my teammate was able to do a rendering an AI of what the precinct we wanted to build. And here we can see green terraces connected with people with nature, while underground layers quietly house the pneumatic waste pipes and the logistics and energy systems. So the design makes a circular system possible, which is really cool. AI is crazy what it can do with rendering the photos. Perfect. So to bring this vision to life, we designed a circular waste management model with 5 interconnected strategies. So I like to think of this as like a loop where waste never really disappears. It keeps falling back into the system as value. The 5 strategies identified were smart bins with AI sorting, a thematic underground collection, anaerobic digestion of food waste, urban mining hubs, and advanced waste to resource technologies. So together they transform disposal into contribution. So for smart bins, they're not just a futuristic gadget anymore. They're actually quite found around the world, especially in Asian cities. South Korea are doing wonderful things there. And these bins have sensors and AI to monitor field levels, guide separation, and even send alerts when contamination occurs. But tech only works if people use it, and that's why I think the incentives are really important. And I know my teammate got me onto this idea when she was chatting about India and how they have garbage cafes and exchange plastic waste for meals. So I thought, well, this would be a brilliant idea where we can digitally insensitize people doing recycling in a positive manner. So we could be a low-tech example of tuning waste separation into a community benefit. And that's where our city would have smart bins into digital credits or discounts. So that makes residents active partners in the system. Brings that citizenship there too. So also, I'd like to imagine a city without garbage trucks and all the carbon emissions happening, and just having cleaner streets. And that's where I feel like the thematic waste system make that possible. Of course, not everything can go down that thematic waste system, so there'd still be designated waste drops and inlets, but most of it would travel through underground pipes and lands at like a central hub. And then this is where it can be taken off-site for the other process. This just means like cleaner streets, less noise, fewer emission, which creates that like social aspect. But again, they're not perfect. They are quite energy intensive, so that's why I'm proposing pairing them with local waste to energy facilities. So the power would actually come from renewable energy resources from the waste that they're actually transporting, and that creates that closed feedback loop. Another one is food waste, which is a big emitter of methane in landfills. So I was looking at maybe doing anaerobic digestion, which changes the game by turning it into a biogas and a fertilizer. So my big picture was, if we can have biogas powers our thematic system, while the jet jet nourishes rooftop gardens, and then that can also redirect the urban heat effect if it's in a hot place. And just having that native land around us, which is also produces better mental health along everyone. And then again, it ties back in with the citizenship, where people can actually see the place where they're living is looking beautiful, clean, and then want to contribute more. Urban mining, really interesting. So that's about digging into our waste streams instead of the earth. So construction debris, e-waste, or old building materials, these all hold valuable metals and aggregates. In Singapore, good example, they have components like windows and tiles are being salvaged and reused in affordable housing. This also goes to our very own Curtin Living Lab, which I think is awesome too. So our vision takes that further by creating hubs where waste from multiple precincts is processed at scale, looping resource back into the economy and building future precincts. And then finally, we look to the future for other technologies. So this is our dark fermentation and plastic gasification. It sounds pretty complex, but they basically they're turning what we currently can't recycle into energy, hydrogen, or even bioplastics. I'm a little bit hesitant with the technology, but this is something where we can leave for space in the future. As that technology becomes more advanced and more safer to use, we can then implement that. So global real world examples. So these aren't just ideas on paper. We're already seeing a lot of them in action, especially in Asia with language of internet enabled smart bins. So that's AI bins basically. We can sort stuff. Thematic waste systems in Singapore and Sweden improving hygiene and creating more livable cities. Anaerobic digestion plants across Europe are generating renewable energy, which then we can feed back in. Plasma gasification plants can transport residual waste. And lastly, urban mining facilities supply construction materials to build new precincts. So these pieces are already out there and they're already connecting them. So the last slide is the benefits of circular waste. So what happens when all these systems work together? We get cleaner streets, streets are cleaner, quieter, energy from waste powers local infrastructure, fertilizer supports green roofs and gardens, recovered materials flow back into construction. But perhaps, as I was touching on at the very beginning, the most important thing is residents are engaged and waste becomes part of their daily contribution to sustainability. And I think that's the most important thing, is having that active citizenship. And that's again with the policies and incentives of those digital credits, where we can start and then create a water flow down effect. Also the climate benefits are huge too. So we got lower methane, lower CO2, and new economic opportunities for green jobs, which again is changing the whole culture around sustainability. So to wrap up, waste doesn't have to be the end of the product's life. It can be the beginning of something new. And by integrating technology, policy, and community, cities like ours that we're pitching here today can turn waste from a hidden burden into a visible resource. And that's one that drives circular innovation and resilience. Went a little bit over time, so apologies for that, but thank you for listening. And then just references.